2022 was a terrible year for Marvel, not just at the box office, but also on streaming, where nearly all of their shows were disappointments and just in reality was not well received by the fan base. And you can tell, it is very obvious that they have massive problems going on at Marvel. And one of the biggest controversies they had last year was the VFX artists, because VFX artists started speaking out and saying, hey, listen, we're being overworked, we're being underpaid, these people aren't telling us in time, we're cramming to get this done. And as a result, it looked like crap. The CGI in She-Hulk looked terrible. The CGI in Thor: Love and Thunder looked terrible. The CGI in Marvel looks embarrassing, especially compared to something else that Disney did at the end of the year, Avatar 2: The Way of Water. It makes Marvel CGI look like a child drew this. And now these VFX artists are kind of fighting back a little bit. They're spilling the beans on everything going on at Marvel. And now it looks like they're ready to take that action even further. VFX artists are ready to unionize and fight back. After a few conflicts that involve Marvel Studios' working conditions, VFX artists want to unionize. After VFX artists in charge of Marvel Studios movies pointed out bad labor codes by the company last year, members from all over the world are getting ready to get together and form their own Hollywood union to prevent these conflicts from continuing. Keep in mind, if this happens, if they do unionize and it affects the price that people are going to have to pay for this, Marvel is fucked. Marvel Studios is completely screwed. You see the cost as they are ballooning up to $250 million budgets for things like Thor: Love and Thunder, for things like Wakanda Forever. And you look at Ant-Man, you see how much CGI is involved in that. That's the only thing they're doing now. They're sitting there in the volume, they're green screening everything, blue screening everything. It's all CGI at this point, and it all looks like crap. Remember what we heard last year when even Taika Waititi, director of Thor: Love and Thunder, came out and shit on the CGI in his own movie in the middle of all this VFX backlash. And of course, the She-Hulk stars, they stood by the VFX artists. But this, what we saw in She-Hulk, was probably the worst we've ever seen in the MCU in its history. Horrific CGI. Imagine going from Iron Man to this, from the original Iron Man. The mix of real life and CGI that they put in that. Imagine going from that quality to what we see with She-Hulk yet 15 years later. What a complete and total embarrassment. But it looks like the artists are done with this. A recent report from Vulture revealed that the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Workers associated with the VFX artists examined their payment rate, working conditions, and long-term sustainability. According to Ben Spite, an organizer, the results of the study were scandalous. Overwhelmingly, with the right strategy led by VFX workers themselves, in the next year, there could be an opportunity for a group to move forward, be successful, and establish their first union. Now, I personally have always been opposed to unions in modern day. I think that they make things complicated. I think they ruin productivity. I think they ruin efficiency. But what's going on right now with these workers, they're clearly being mistreated by Marvel. Marvel's shoving all this work on them with no time to get it done. And if they don't get it done, they get blacklisted. Marvel Studios accused of blacklisting VFX artists. And it all comes down to this horrific looking woman right here, Victoria Alonso. She is reportedly the one who blacklists VFX artists if they don't get the work done in a timely manner. So they crush you with this. And if you don't accept the appointment, they try to blacklist you. The report also pointed out Marvel artists were paid 20% less than the ones working in other studios. The magazine spoke to VFX artist Mark Patch, who was approached by the studio to work on a TV show. Besides the low payment, Patch didn't like the other conditions, such as the impossibility of talking about anything related to the job he was doing and for whom. Additionally, the working hours and deadlines were extreme, which didn't help the situation. A few months ago, some VFX artists spoke out and shed light on the problem no one knew about. Still, it became a big deal as the extreme conditions they had to work under to make the successful blockbusters we enjoy arose. While with Marvel not only shining with its films, but now developing an enormous amount of series destined to premiere on Disney Plus, the demand for production grew. We used to be able to see 3 or 4 films a year. Now they do 3 or 4 movies, 3 or 4 TV shows, which means more than double the work behind the scenes, particularly for VFX departments. They're getting ready to put an end to it. To stand up to Marvel and say, hey, listen, we're fucking tired of this shit. We're not putting up with it. You're no longer going to be able to use us the way you have, and then shit on us like Taika Waititi did. So no matter where you turn, there's just continuously bad news for Marvel. And now it looks like they might have a much more expensive proposition on their hands. For their huge, big budget movies that are barely breaking even, looks like that threshold is about to get even smaller because they're going to have to pay even more for these VFX artists in the future.